Things not to do, lawful masses. Things not to do. These are life lessons, life lessons. When you become a judge, do not do these things. Hello everyone, I'm Leonard French, your favorite copyright attorney, and today I have a special video for you, my lawful masses. We're going to try something new and exciting. Your favorite researcher, Tactical Bra, is here with me to present a new segment called Tactical's Briefs, where we carefully review her underwear, where we carefully review a case from the layman's perspective. Where Tactical has done all of the research. I have no idea what we are going to talk about, so I'm going in completely cold, and you get to see my genuine reaction and hear my thoughts as they unfold. We plan to present this kind of segment regularly, so please share your thoughts and comments on the new format below. Without further ado, here's Tactical Bra. Hello, Tactical.
Hi, I'm so excited.
I am too. Yes, what do you have for us today?
All right, so this comes from the Court of Judicial Discipline, and it's regarding Judge Michael G. Shaw, a magistrate judge from Bradford County, who presided over...
Bradford County where?
Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania. So my state. This is Pennsylvania, okay.
Yes. And he presided over the local treatment court. And so when defendants were convicted for DUIs or drug offenses, they could apply to treatment court, where they would serve part of their sentence by participating in the treatment program there. Okay. And treatment court was run by a committee, which had lawyers from the public defender's office, the district attorney's office, probation officers, mental health professionals, and Judge Shaw. Judge Shaw was responsible for sanctioning non-compliant defendants in consensus with the treatment court committee, if anybody was non-compliant.
Okay, so back up one sec. Sanctioning non-compliant defendants means people who've gone through some kind of criminal defense thing, like they've had a criminal charge of some kind of drug offense, and they've gone through either a program or been found guilty and been sentenced or something, and as part of their sentence they have to comply with the terms of their release or ADR, which is a type of treatment program, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And so he is seeing these defendants when they have violated something in some way, and he's trying to determine what to do.
Not always. Okay. He would lead, or at least be present for regular meetings that they were scheduled to come and to see him.
So status updates as well, even not non-violation status updates. Got it.
Yes, but it's important to know that he also had the power to sanction. Okay. All right. So in May 2013, JL was convicted on a repeat DUI charge and was sentenced to 2 years punishment. So after he spent a few months in jail, he was transferred to treatment court under Judge Shaw. Okay. And as a young man, Judge Shaw had actually worked for JL's father, so he had actually known JL for years.
Great.
And while JL was in treatment court, Shaw was introduced to JL's girlfriend, DA. They were introduced at a funeral that they all attended, but DA also supported JL by attending the treatment court meetings, so Shaw saw her regularly. So in February,
just real quick, we have Shaw the judge, we have JL the defendant, and we have DA the defendant's supportive girlfriend.
Yes.
Okay.
In February, DA messaged Shaw on Facebook and said that she was thinking of breaking up with JL, but was worried that it would cause him to relapse or that he could act out. So Shaw and DA talked on the phone, and afterwards they kept in frequent contact through text and phone calls.
Okay.
Now, DA and JL shared a cell phone plan. And so when JL was reviewing his records, he saw that DA and Shaw had been talking late at night. So he confronted both of them separately, and they both said that they had been discussing JL, so he accepted this. But over time, the text started to become more flirtatious and sexual, and then in March, DA and Shaw hooked up at a hotel. And then shortly after, the romance fizzled. So a few months later in May, JL was holding DA's phone and saw a message from Shaw. So he became angry and started to go through their history and discovered the sexual messages. So when he confronted...
Wait, hang on. Okay. So the sexual liaison thing happened.
Yes.
But DA did not leave JL.
In May, they were together.
Mm-hmm.
And still, apparently she was still texting, texting Shaw, even though the romance was petering out by then. But, you know, JL went through, saw the messages. He got upset. He confronted Shaw. Shaw admitted to the affair and apologized, said that he disrespected JL, and talked about stepping down from his role in treatment court. However, he said that this would probably also end treatment court altogether. So he just wanted to stay on for a few weeks so he could preside over the graduation ceremony for some of the participants. Which, of course, made JL feel really guilty, and he didn't want treatment court to end because of something that he saw as a personal issue between Shaw and him. But
please don't get upset with me that I slept with your girlfriend. I just want to finish my... What?
Yeah. So
wait, the judge, obviously, if he thinks that he's going to lose his job or something, just please let me finish. So the judge had some thought that maybe this was improper.
Definitely. And it looked like he wanted to, take some responsibility, but he just wanted to stay on a few weeks to see some of the participants graduate. So another treatment court participant found out about the affair. So not JL, but somebody else found out about the affair.
Here we go.
Told his probation officer, who then reported the affair up the hierarchy.
Yeah.
And people at the treatment court committee found out, and they all confronted him. And Shaw admitted to the affair. And the treatment court committee was really unhappy. And they were also ticked off because they're like, you're not even supposed to have any contact with the participants outside of these meetings, because if there is an urgent issue, the participants are supposed to contact the probation officer, not the judge.
That was the first thing I thought, was why didn't the judge very politely say to DA, the very first time she contacted him, I'm so sorry I can't talk to you directly. Once your boyfriend's case is over, feel free to contact me personally. But until then, I can't be in contact with you at all, or something. And I don't even know what the rules are about, if they wanted to have an affair, fine, more power to them. They just can't do it under these circumstances. They can't do it while JL is still a defendant in his court. If JL really wanted to just have if the judge really wanted to have this affair, just have the judge recuse himself right at the beginning. As soon as he realizes he wants to have this affair, recuse yourself from the case, have it assigned to a different judge, if there was one.
Oh, if you're upset that he didn't recuse himself, things are about to get worse.
Oh, God.
Oh, yeah. So a disciplinary investigation was opened against Shaw, obviously. So Shaw gets himself a lawyer. Great. Except his lawyer had dozens of cases before Shaw, and Shaw never informed the other side that opposing counsel was representing him in a separate matter. And it was only after the allegations of sexual misconduct went public that the judge recused himself. So...
Oops.
Yeah, there was over 40 cases before him.
Oops.
Yeah.
This Meeseeks right here is saying it. Is saying it right. This one right here with his face, with his hand smacking his face. That's what I'm doing right now. Face palm.
So
he could have had his cake. He could have eaten his cake and had it too. All he had to do was recuse himself from the case, and he could have had the affair, gotten in no trouble, and still been a treatment court judge.
Yep. After years of investigation and everything, the court has found that Shaw violated a whole slew of rules, including the Pennsylvania Constitution.
Wow.
Which states that judges can't bring the judicial office into disrepute.
Yeah.
So apparently, having an affair with a defendant's girlfriend while presiding over his combined sentencing and treatment apparently does that. And he should have recused himself from the cases argued by his personal lawyer, or at least notified opposing counsel.
Yeah, so that opposing counsel can make the objection if they feel it's necessary.
Yeah. And
oh my goodness.
Yeah. So there's no punishment that was listed in the opinion because this was just sort of a finding of facts.
Yeah,
I'm
the finding of facts, there'll
guessing,
be like a sentencing or reprimand later, usually.
yeah, maybe both sides have an opportunity to
When
say this is why it should be punished more or less.
when was the this opinion?
It was like 2 weeks ago, I think.
Okay. Yeah, we'll keep an eye on it. If it's in Pennsylvania, I bet you I'll be getting another one of my favorite emails. They come across, it's so funny, they come across in my Gmail or Google inbox, and the name of the sender is the Office of Disciplinary Counsel or whatever. And so you don't see the subject yet. You just see that you've got a message from the Office of Disciplinary Counsel. And so, like, every month, I am 100% sure that I've done nothing wrong, but I still see that message, that email, and go, is this the newsletter or am I in trouble? I just have this moment of holding my breath and opening the message and looking for the subject and going, okay, good, I'm not in trouble.
Yeah.
It's every month I'm not in trouble.
Your stomach just drops involuntarily, like,
Yeah.
ugh.
It's like when you're driving along on a nice summer day and you've got the windows down and your music's not even playing loud and you've got your seatbelt on, you're doing nothing wrong, and out of nowhere a cop flies through 16 lanes of cars and stops right behind you. No lights or anything, and you're just like, is he looking for me? Like, what did I do?
And suddenly what goes through your head is like, it's like, oh my God, do I have drugs?
Did I forget
what?
something in my car? Who's been in my car recently? Shit. I don't
You're
remember.
just like, do I have any open bottles of alcohol? And it's not that you ever do. It's not like you ever have.
Yep.
It just immediately you're like,
Nope.
I'm about to get caught for something horrible.
The most open container I have in my car is an open container of root beer.
So I learned something from this, and that's if judges have unethical conduct, it can violate the state constitution.
That's interesting. Yeah, I there's probably like a due process right. So there's several components to due process, and maybe I'm wrong here, but tell me if they've got this in there, if it's obvious. Due process is both the actual substance of your rights, as in like your right to not have free speech or freedom of association or freedom of religion or freedom of the press abridged, your right to life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, that sort of thing. It's also the right to the actual process of prosecuting you or otherwise legally violating those rights, for some other purpose. So it's possible that in this case, this is not only a violation of the due process right to like equal protection, to an unbiased judge, to a speedy prosecution, to a speedy trial, that kind of thing. It might also be a violation of the actual procedure, as in the judge was supposed to recuse themselves, and you were supposed to have an unbiased judge, and these are procedural things as well as substantive things. But I'm really curious, you said there were a number of violations in there. In law school, we mostly focus on the lawyer's ethics, and we do still have to answer questions and know a little bit about judicial ethics, but not really as much. What were some of the things they said violated the Constitution and the rules of judicial ethics?
So, in terms of the Constitution, it's Article 5, and it's the Administration of Justice Clause.
Okay.
And it has to do with judges can't bring the judicial office into disrepute. And he basically tarnished the reputation of the judicial office. And so there's that. There were some other ethics codes that were specific to magistrate judges that he also violated.
Okay.
It was a 44-page opinion. There were several other stories that I didn't cover that have to do with other ex parte communications that would have biased him.
Okay, so he was biased, or at least there was the color of bias as well.
You had like relatives of people who had complaints against them sort of calling the judge and saying like, hey, can we have a meeting? And, can you take this into consideration?
Yeah.
And so he did, and it seems so human to be like, oh yeah, there's this
judge,
other circumstance There are these other factors that impacted this person's ability to be a good, upstanding citizen or whatnot. I'll dismiss it. But that's not actually how judges are supposed to work.
Right. They in Northampton County, for example, they have a master. The master is kind of like a officer, like a judicial officer, and she, in this case, brings the recommendations after she meets with the parties and things, and she'll have kind of some, not entirely ex parte, but she'll have conversations with the parties and things, and then take a recommendation to the judge. And that way the judge is not influenced or biased by any of that communication and doesn't really implicate too much of that. She still has to be careful of ethical lines and things, but it's less so because the judge is not directly involved.
Mm-hmm.
But that's super interesting. Looking forward to seeing what Judge Shaw's formal sentence or punishment is. I'm assuming some kind of stripping of the judicial role and possibly a suspension from the practice of law for some period of time. If, depending upon what kind of judge he is, if he's a magistrate judge, he might not actually be a lawyer. That does happen in some places.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Some elected judges aren't even required to be lawyers. Correct. Some lower appointed judges are not required to be lawyers as well.
Yeah.
That's a little scary, I think, not have required. They still require court training on how to be a basic judge, but it's not the same level of law school training that I would expect a judge to be required to have, and then have a crap ton of experience behind it. For example, in my area, if you wanted to be a private investigator, you have to show some number of years on an actual police force doing actual detective work. So wouldn't you think a judge would have to spend some number of years as a lawyer or as a clerk or something perfecting their skills? I don't know.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
Yeah. And I feel kind of bad in this circumstance because throughout reading it, I just had this feeling of like, this is a small town. I think Bradford's like about 10,000 people. And so, you have the judge used to work for JL's father. And like he met the girlfriend at a funeral that they all attended. And
what?
Right? So it's like...
Oh, I'm so sorry for your loss. You single?
Yeah, and it's all interconnected. And
at least it wasn't the death of her husband or boyfriend.
Yeah, no. Although some of the other, like the judge being really familiar with the people that he was presiding over, after treatment court, because so many people had DUIs, they weren't allowed to drive, or they might have had suspended sentences, and it's a small town and public transportation isn't that great. And so they would all sort of wait by the judge's car frequently after meetings so that he could drive them home. Which is...
Uber is not that expensive. Uber
I wonder if Bradford County has Uber.
Yeah, they should.
No, it's I mean, yeah, finding the judge on Facebook and messaging him.
Things not to do, lawful masses. Things not to do. These are life lessons. When you become a judge, do not do these things.
Yeah. Can you imagine being like opposing counsel? Like you're in front of a judge, and then you find out like 4 months later that actually opposing counsel was the judge's personal lawyer.
No, I'll tell you what happened when my only run-in with this or experience with this kind of thing. I represented a client once. We went into court, and it was motions court, and so motions court, you get whatever judge is assigned to motions court for that day. You can sort of sometimes call ahead and figure out who the judge is, but you really can't just get the judge that you want. You go into motions court and you figure out whoever judge it is. So you get random judge, and my client has been assigned a judge that he knows, but knows outside of the courtroom. Apparently, they're political opponents. He works on the campaign that opposes her election to the position as judge. So I am a brand new attorney at the time. I mean, like 1 year old. And he tells me this. And I'm like, well, we have to ask the judge to recuse herself. And like, he's like, I don't know if we can do that. Like, I'm afraid of this judge. And so I said, no, I don't really think we have a choice. I don't want to do it either, but I think I have to. So I told opposing counsel, I said, my client says that he's a political opponent of the judge outside of the courtroom. Like, I think we have to ask the judge to recuse herself. And opposing counsel consents. He says, yeah, you're probably right. I'm not opposed to it, but I wouldn't want to do it. Good luck. So I walked in, more or less with my tail tucked between my legs, and I was like, Your Honor, my client tells me that he is a political opponent of yours, and he believes that it would be proper for you to recuse yourself in this case. And she asked me who my client was, and the instant I said the name, she said, Yep, I'm withdrawing. Go see another judge, so-and-so down in courtroom 5 is available. So I'm like, thank you, Judge. Thank goodness you agreed with me and my client, because I didn't want to fight about that. So yeah, that's you just do it. You do it right away. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. You eat crow while the crow is young and tender, or else surely you will eat it while it is old and tough. That's your lesson, lawful masses. That's your lesson.
Reading all 44 pages of it, I kind of feel for the judge a little bit, but I also really, really feel for JL. Can you imagine? Okay, so he's gotten his repeat DUI. He has to go to treatment court. He's trying to turn his life around. He's trying to get sober. He has this really supportive girlfriend, and everything seems to be going great.
I'm looking forward to the days. Of a supportive girlfriend. That'll be really nice.
You find something someday. A little hinky, she's texting the judge, she's calling the judge. Oh, no, we were talking about you, hun, just the best way to support you. And be like, okay.
Yeah.
You go through a little bit of a rough
less supportive
patch,
at this point.
You push through it, then it's like, oh wait, the judge slept with my girlfriend.
What? It's just
and then it's
still
like
mind-blowing. There's just how?
And then it's like,
judge.
So the judge offers to step down from his position. Oh, but then treatment court itself would probably end.
Yeah. Please don't complain about me, because if you do, then you'll be hurting all the people who need my help.
Oh.
That is, by the way, that is a hallmark. That is a red flag. That is a warning sign of abusive and controlling people. The director of the choir that I was in that abused several of the boys, he said something very similar. He shouldn't be sentenced to very long because it'll really affect, the boys in the program, in the choir who are learning, and the music that he makes and everything. And the judge agreed with me and the DA that makes it worse, not better. The fact that you've got that position and you've done all these good things, and now you're using those good things as a way to get what you want, illegally. That and unethically, illegally is usually unethically, but there's crimes of I went over the speeding limit, versus crimes of I violated your trust.
Yeah.
I've not violated your trust by speeding. I violated your trust if you trusted me to be an unbiased judge, or trusted me to be your unbiased lawyer, or trusted me to hold your money and not spend it and steal it from you, which is something that lawyers often get in trouble for. And this is exactly the kind of thing that those constitutional provisions and those ethics laws are supposed to prevent, is the casting of the judicial law. This makes all judges look bad. It makes this one judge look especially bad, but then every other judge gets questioned a little bit more by defendants who are wondering if that judge has done something similar.
Yeah. And treatment court sounds like a blend between sort of this judicial punishment, but also treatment and trying to help the person not to recidivate.
So there is a gray line. There is a gray line. He wasn't 100% wrong by being a little bit gray with the line of how to help the people in treatment. Unfortunately, he used it for all the wrong reasons. I mean, that's why there's that little bit of discretion there, is so you can not get in trouble every time that you go to help a defendant out genuinely, legitimately, bona fide. But that's not what he was doing. He was taking advantage of people, or just being too communicative with the defendants outside of the judicial appropriateness.
Yeah. And I mean, treatment court sounds great, but it also sounds like it deserves a judge that isn't going to abuse that position of trust.
So that was the first tactical brief. Thank you for joining us. This is a community-supported channel. Thank you for pledging your monthly support on patreon.com/ljfrench. A big thank you to the following supporters. At the $50 level: Jonathan Doe, John Steele, Gavin Barnard, Evie, Andy, Kyle Mudrak, John H. Anderson, Vera Montaigne, Sean McNamara, William Gonzalez, Michael Pierce, Terry Crisp, Grunkle Tia Marie, and Michael Jones. And thank you to all the $5 plus supporters who will be scrolling on, well, not this LED panel behind me, as I forgot to update it for this video, I'm sorry. And I will also have you scrolling on the screen. Thank you very much for all of your support. This has been our first Tactical Briefs. Thank you to Tactical Bra. We'll see you in the next video. Have a great one. Any final thoughts, Tactical?
I think oh god, just edit that
really
dumb moment out.
Yeah, you're fine.
just pretend that I'm really good at this. Edit it to make me sound pretty.
I'm going to keep all of this.
This is after a week of recovery, and this is what we've got. A feisty Ilsa. And a visiting Nico.